and will be judged on the basis of what they have been doing. And anyone who is doing good will indeed be rewarded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then a dialogue is mentioned, and we will come in detail about that between Shaitan and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day when he was asked to submit to Adam alayhi salatu wasalam's promise and Adam alayhi salatu wasalam's strength. And he was asked that why he is denying that. And his response was that because I'm better than him, because of my creation. And we'll come to that in a moment. And then another dialogue took place that Shaitan is asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give him enough permission or give him permission and time to mislead the people. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that, well, that permission is given to you. And this is the real test that the people who believe in me would not succumb to your ideas and your thinking. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also mentions he does not like those people who are transgressing the limits that God has put in almost every aspect of life. Also, the issue is made very clearly that whenever the truth is revealed to people and the people realizes the truth and they start following that, they would find themselves in a different state of affairs, and they would be believed, they would be rewarded for that. And those who deny and those who are against the believers would indeed be questioned and held accountable. It also talks about the creation and different stages of creation. It also talks about that people should learn from the history again in that respect. The story of Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam, the story of Hud alayhi salatu wasalam, Shuaib alayhi salatu wasalam, Saleh alayhi salatu wasalam, and Lut alayhi salatu wasalam is mentioned with certain conclusions drawn from that those were the peoples, especially the elites, were the ones who were in a state of denial, and they were first trying to compromise, to buy over the believers, to tempt them to various kind of things, and yet they refused, and the elites were upset because all these messengers were challenging their lifestyle. uh, and Quran gives the references that there were some communities that were abusing human beings. There were some who were exploiting others. There were some who were in a state of hedonism, and there were some communities who were torturing animals or animal rights. While all those things are mentioned in that respect, the Quran says that those people, the elites, were the ones who were in the forefront of the opposition, and they were held accountable for that. And finally, Allah Subhanahu wa Taala mentioned something very powerful for the believers, that how should they know that Allah is pleased with them? How should they know that their commitment is to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala? And in that respect, Allah tells them that because if they find their hearts open to others, and if they find that their hearts does not carry any envy, any jealousy against anyone, then they should feel that they are under the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has accepted their works. So this in general is the brief summary of what is discussed in this gist. Let us now go over some of the issues that are um, uh, important and that needs to be elaborated slightly more than what we have discussed. Brother Lee, can you open the first verse that we want to focus on? Well, if that verse is not coming on the screen, then let's look at this one and say that lahum darus salam inda rabbihim wa huwa waliyuhum, and it is verse 6:127. And what is being said that the purpose of this creation is to provide opportunities to human beings to live in a state of peace. And once people commit themselves to peaceful existence, and the peace does not simply mean the peace in the societies, it starts with oneself. Peace with oneself, with one's own families, with one's own relations, with one's own neighborhood, everywhere. And that is what the essence of the faith is also, that when you stand for justice and when you stand for truth and when you follow the divine guidance, then you definitely will create conditions that would promote peace in every aspect of the life. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is aware of everything that human beings are doing. And, sometimes we pretend that we are peaceful, but we are not peaceful in that respect. And that is what is being alluded. That the effort should be made those who genuinely believe in the affairs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bring peace together, because there are communities that are misled about the true nature of issues involved. There are individuals who play uh, a mischievous role in the society by creating disharmony for their own political, cultural, economic interests. And the believers are said that they should devote themselves to achieving peace within oneself, because without achieving peace within oneself, how can we expect peace in our families? And how can we expect peace in our communities and societies? That is the essence. How do we achieve peace with ourselves? As we said in the concluding of the summary, and that فَنَزَعْنَا مَا فِي صُدُورٍ مِنْ غِلٍّ, that anything that is harmful, anything that is envious, anything that is built on anger, anything that is based on falsehood, we should take that out from our hearts towards individuals, towards communities. Yes, we will have negative feelings towards others. We would have negative attitude towards others, but that does not mean that we live our life on the basis of those negative ideas. Those negative ideas have to brought to a closure at a certain point of time. People do wrong to all the people all the time. We also do wrong to other people. What Quran is saying, that once you realize that a mistake has been done or wrong has been done, move forward and make sure that you do not have those kind of ideas in your own heart. So salam, or the peace, is the essence of the faith itself, and that is where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is alluding us to. The other one is also a very powerful verse, which says that اعملوا على مكانتكم إني عامل فسوف تعلمون من تكون إن عاقبة الدار إنه لا يصلح الظالم. That it is verse 135, I think, Surah Al-An'am. And it is saying that قل يا قوم اعملوا على مكانتكم إني عامل فسوف تعلمون إن تكون له عاقبة الدار إنه لا يفلح الظالمون. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not make the people who are transgressors prosper. And what is being said here is that there are people who would question your integrity, your way of thinking, your way of doing things. But if you are sincere, then keep on doing what you're doing. And you don't have to interfere and forcibly stop others from doing what they're doing. Tell them that do whatever you want to do. Follow your own path, follow your own ideas. But I am not going to submit to the ideas that you are promoting. And the future will explain things, the situations that will emerge in the future will explain who was the right and who was wrong, and who was following the divine guidance, who was not following divine guidance. So it's a very refreshing and a very confidence building ayah, which tells us that if we are sincere in what we are doing, and if we keep on doing things and maintain consistency in our attitude and in our behavior, nothing will stop us. And other people will realize that they are the ones who made the mistake. And this is what the outcome of those messengers struggles which we talk about, like Shuaib alayhi salatu wasalam, Hud alayhi salatu wasalam, Saleh alayhi salatu wasalam, and Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam. They were all faced with challenges from the elites about their way of thinking, and yet they did not abandon their path, and they kept on following what they believed in, and then ultimately all those people who were opposed to them suffered the consequences of their rejection and their denial. Then let's go to the other one, which is, I think, verse 159 of chapter 6, which says that in the lazina farraqu din, those people who change their religion and create a division within the way of life, within their understanding of, and wakanu shi'an, and they create a separate groups and separate faction. Lasta minhum shay'an, you should not deal with those people, and make sure that to Allah we all will return, and He knows what we are doing and what we are thinking. So this verse 159 is pointing to the practice that we see throughout human history, that you start with a very clear message from a prophet, and then the people, because of their own interests, create divisions within the community based on their understanding and based on their uh, uh, beliefs. And then the divisions reach to a point where the conflicts start. And when the conflicts start, then everyone starts taking sides. It happened with Judaism, it happened with Christianity, it is also happening with Muslims. It happened almost every religious community, even though their scriptures is the same, even though their understanding of the God Almighty is more or less the same as far as Muslims are concerned. Yet they have divisions. Same is the case with Christians, that they are Protestants and the Catholics and Presbyterians and Methodists and so whatnot. And the same is the case with Jews, the Reformists, the Orthodox, the uh, Messianic, and all those divisions that exist. And this is where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pointing, is that they are the people who are creating divisions within the community. Why they are creating that divisions in the community? Because of their interests. Because of their own interests that they have attached to their particular brand of understanding. And this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is warning us with the emphasis that remember that you are claiming that whatever you do in your life is dedicated to God Almighty. Your life, your death, your struggle, your worship, everything. قُلْ إِنَّ صَلَاتِي وَنُسُكِي وَمَحْيَايَ وَمَمَاتِي لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. That everything is for God Almighty. So when you have this kind of belief, then there is no point of having these kind of factions. You can have different understanding. You can have different perspectives on things, but that does not mean that you would not work together, come together, and then join hands in ensuring that things would happen properly. Let's go to the verse 712, which is a very powerful message. قُلْ مَا مَنَعَكَ أَلَّا تَسْجُدُ إِذَا أَمَرْتُكَ. Why would you not submit to Adam alayhi salatu wasalam and acknowledge and accept his potential and his power and his authority when you were asked to do? So what was the response of the Iblis? He said, why should I do? Ana khayrun min. I'm better than him. Why I am better? Because khalaqtani Minna, you are the one who created me with a different nature. و- And also, وَخَلَقْتُهُ مِنْ طِينٍ, and he created him from a different material. Here it is not about the ingredients of life. It is more about the behavior in life and attitude in life. What Shaitan is arguing that I have a different nature or a different instinct than the instinct that Adam alayhi salatu wasalam was given. He was more grounded in reality. Teen refers to the humility and the grounding in reality. That he would not act in a boastful manner in general. Human beings usually would not act unless they are in a state of competition with others. That human beings would ensure that they act on the basis of their rationality and their thinking. While Shaitan is saying that the nature and the instinct that were given to me were the ones where whatever I say and whatever I decide is the law. That I have this fiery nature. I have this called the spirit, which is hard and which is very strict on developing and understanding what is around me. So when you have given me that authoritarian kind of attitude, then why should I follow Adam, who has acted more or who might act more on the basis of one's rationality and more on humility? And if we look at the history of humanity, we find that this particular sentence, "Wa'ana khairum min," is the one that is the cause of every conflict and every act of violence that takes place in a human society. I am better than my civilization is better. My country is better. My tribe is better. My clan is better. My family is better. In every sense, I am better. And that is what is being pointed out, that this is not the way to read the life. And then in the similar uh, fashion, a dialogue takes place between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Shaitan, and the Shaitan says, well, you created me, this nature, and you gave me this kind of authority, and now when you're asking me to delegate or to submit to Adam and accept the authority of someone else, you are the one who is misleading. You are the one who are creating this problem. While Adam والسلام, response was that ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. We made a mistake. We're coming back to you, and hopefully you will forgive us for that, and then we'll move on. But then another discussion ensues between God and Shaitan. He says that, well, now you have asked me to leave this place. What am I going to do? Just keep on wandering? I'll use the time until the end of the time to make sure that I convince the humans about the defined nature that I have shown to you uh, in your in disobeying your command to worship or to submit to Adam alayhi salatu. I'll try to gain control over their minds and their thinking. I'll whisper in their understanding. I will come to them as an idea of their uh, power and their authority, the same as I had the attitude when you asked me to bow to Adam alayhi salatu. Why is he saying? Because he knows that Adam alayhi salatu wasalam, or the progeny of Adam, the Bani Adam, has been given the ability to show humility, to be in a state of humbleness. So he's saying that I'll make sure that the children of Adam, follow me, my arrogance and my attitude of superiority over the others. And what was the response of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? He says that قال فانظرني, that oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, give me the time for that. And then Allah's response was, "Qala innaka min al-munzirin." Okay, you want the time? Have the time. And then subsequently, Allah says, not in this particular chapter, but elsewhere, in, I think chapter 18, where He says that those who believe in the truth and those who believe in in the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, will be able to do away with the whispers of shaitan. So the shaitan comes to us. What is shaitan? Comes to us in the form of whispers, in the form of those ideas that take us away from our own humanity. It basically takes us away from our own purposes. And let's look at it in the practical sense. We're focused on doing certain things, and all of a sudden, someone starts challenging us. And then we feel that we are being put down by the other person. We respond and we say that, how come you are questioning us and challenging us, and how come you are being critical of us, and all those things. And then a conflict starts, and then we are deviated from the path that we were focusing on. And now we get involved and engaged in something else also. So this is what the Quran is mentioning. And this again takes us back to the iftiraq, the divisions that exist among Muslims. Well, this is my understanding. Why? Because I follow this. Who are you to tell me that I am wrong or my understanding is not right? And because you are having a different perspectives than mine, then you are not the one who should be trusted. And then I respond, how dare you question my integrity and my ideas? And then what happens? You forget the issues involved, and then you start fighting on those ways. This is precisely what is happening. Even look at the politics of takfir within the Muslim community, that everyone is pointing fingers to others, saying that your understanding of faith is terrible, and you do not belong to the faith itself. If you look at the literature that is produced by the various factions among the Muslims, you would find that each one of us has denounced others as kafir, as if there is no Muslim left, because everyone in the eyes of the other is enough. And that is where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pointing out and bringing out aptly this example of shaitan, that the shaitan is the one who is creating that whispers that you are better, your ideas are better, your way of thinking is better. Without saying that, well, going back to the word, makanikum inni amilun, amalu ala makanatikum inni amilun. That, if you believe in this, do whatever you are doing. But I believe in what my ideas have, my understanding of things have led me to believe, and I would respond and I would act on that basis, and the future would tell. This is precisely what happened with the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He did not involve in confronting others in a violent manner. All those ideas that he use the violence and all that's it's not historically accurate. That is, in all the wars that took place during his lifetime, and that were in Medina, when the people came and attacked him, there were only 487 people who were killed. And out of those 487, 287 were Muslims, and the rest were non-Muslims. So even in terms of the physical loss, the Muslims were the one who suffered most. And there is not a single example that say that the religion that was saying, like Rahabuddin, that there's no compulsion in religion forced others. It was primarily a peaceful transition from a idolatrous society to a monotheistic society, even though the enemies try to impose wars and tries to intimidate and tries to threaten others and all those things. Subsequently, many of the historians wrote about all those things. They were carried away by the chivalry of the people, and then they started concocting stories about things that had no relationship with what was said in the Quran. So what happens to those people who are who believe in the satanic idea and a khairum min, they become the source of conflict. The superiority of one's actions and one's character is recognized by us voluntarily, not in any other sense. And it is in this particular context the Quran is making a very powerful message, which is telling us that each one of us will carry the burden of ourselves, and none of us will carry the burden of the other. And then وَنَزَعْنَا مَا فِي صُدُورِهِمْ غِلٍّ, that once people come out of that mode of arrogance and one starts accepting the humanity and the humility of themselves and of others, and what happens? Allah clears their heart from any of those kind of arrogant ideas and deviant ideas. And when that happens, what happens? What happens? Wallahu yad'u ila dar salam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then create you and then recreate you in a state of peace. That you create yourself with that, and with that, understanding that once we find that attitude in our own hearts and our own mind, in terms of our relationship with others and our relationship with Allah, that we are not better than others, even though the shaitan would say that you are better because of your prayers, you are better because of your beauty, you are better because of your status, you are better because of your knowledge, you are better because of your degrees, you are better because of health, your house, all those things. No, no, as long as I have respect for human beings, I have respect for every creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then certainly I am among those whose heart is clean and whose heart is pure. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم.
Thank you, Dr. Aslam, for that explanation. I wanted to discuss a couple of verses with you.
Sure.
One is Surah 6, 133. Your Lord is self-sufficient and full of mercy. If he is pleased, he could remove you and put others in your place, just as he produced you from the offspring of other people. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about replacing whom?
Allah is giving a general statement that no human being, because of his position and because of his claims, is indispensable. That if one person rejects the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or one believes that it is he or she who is indispensable in terms of promoting the ideas of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then that is a mistake. Because there will be people, and he will bring out those people by giving them knowledge, by giving them a strength of the character, so that they could carry on the message. So it is a general statement that the people should not think themselves indispensable in any situation. People are removable. People can change, and that we see every day happening in our world. That there are people who used to claim that without that things would not happen, would not change, things like that. The arrogant attitude, and this is what Allah Subhanahu wa Taala is placing. That if Muslims, by Muslims means that particular context, it was said that if the Arabs did not fulfill their responsibilities that are being given to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, if a particular group, a particular community in a particular era is not fulfilling that responsibility, someone else will replace them. So it is that general statement that is being explained here.
Okay. The next verse I wanted to get your reflections on is Surah Araf 54. Your Lord is God who created the heavens and the earth in 6 days, then established himself on the throne. He makes the night cover the day in swift pursuit. He created the sun moon, and the stars to be subservient to his command. All creation and command belong to him. Exalted be God, Lord of the worlds. So, the concept of 6 days, how do we understand the concept of 6 days?
First of all, when the Muslim translators translated this particular verse, they were influenced by what was written in the Old Testament, where it was said that God created the universe in 6 days, and on the seventh day he rested. The Muslim scholars avoided that kind of similarity of the seventh day, but they took that major concept. It was 6 days. Later on, this idea was challenged around in the 11th century, and some people started saying, when Muscavia, who talked about the evolution of human society and the development of human society, when he looked at these kind of verses and that understanding that 6 days were the days where God created this universe, he came up with the understanding that these 6 days were not 6 days, but six different aeons, six different phases, six different time frame. But based on the other verses of the Quran, when Allah Subhanahu wa Taala says that there are two stages of creation and two stages of evolution. One is a stage of amr, things that happen. One is a stage of badi, that when the invention, when the idea is taken. So Allah Subhanahu wa Taala took millions of years to plan things, the moon, the sun, the climate, the winds, and all those things. And he put the formula. If you want to use a simple term, the same way as when architect builds a house, he first develops the concept, and those concepts then are brought on the paper, and then those paper basically are shared with those people who are engineers and who are masons and who are the people who experts in building materials and all those things, and things are built. So Allah Subhanahu wa Taala took millions of years to plan what we see, and He planned in such a manner that what's the wala walan tajida li kalimatillahi tabtila, that you will not find the laws of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. The laws are so perfect. The things are moving in a perfect manner for millions of years. And when an imbalance takes place, then so those six mention is that evolution uh, happened in a manner that uh, could be counted as six phases, six periods of evolution, six stages of evolution, and all those things. And if you look at the uh, theories about the creation and theories about the human existence, we find that we are also saying that things did not happen all of a sudden. Things happen in stages, and things happen in both in the physical as well as in social sense. That and maybe someday we would discover that those entire history of existence of humanity and the universe can be classified into six major phases of creation. Now, when we are talking about creation, we are not talking in the regular sense of the debate that has been going on in this country, where creation is seen as a dichotomous uh, idea against evolution. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about creation, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is also talking about the stages of creation and evolution of the creation. Yes, there comes a moment when things are perfect, the plan is perfect, you push the button and things start running. But before you push that button, you have to do a lot of wiring, you have to do a lot of engineering, and that is where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is what the force of evolution is. And that evolution is planned. Allah subhanahu. So it is in that sense we see those six phases of human existence and evolution.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for explaining the verses and these additional verses. Inshallah, we'll be joining you for Jummah tomorrow,
Yes,
and
inshallah, we will definitely.
and in the evening again for Quranic reflections. And
Thank you very
we can end
much.
with dua.
Let us all recite Surah Al-Asr. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Wal Asr innal insana lafi khusr illa alladhina amanu wa amilu salihat wa tawasaw bil haqq wa tawasaw bis sabr. We indeed are in a state of loss because of our inability to comprehend and to understand, to live the message that you have given us, O God Almighty. Inspire us to live it, inspire us to follow it, and inspire us to believe in everything that you say, and settle our hearts on truth, and settle our hearts on the issues of justice. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless everyone who is present, bless every family, bless everyone who is seeking your guidance and your help. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun ala al-mursaleen walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. And thank you very much.